Let me ask you something honestly. Have you ever watched the market move exactly the way you predicted, but somehow you still lost money? You studied the charts. You waited for the setup. You entered the trade. And yet, the result was still the same. Loss after loss. Meanwhile, there are traders out there quietly growing their accounts, week after week, month after month. So what do they know that you don't? Because here's the truth. Most people in trading never realize. The difference between profitable traders and struggling traders is almost never intelligence. It's behavior. When most people start trading, they believe success comes from finding the perfect strategy, the perfect indicator, the perfect entry, the perfect signal. But profitable traders know something different. They know trading isn't about predicting the market perfectly. It's about mastering yourself. You see, the market is like the ocean. Sometimes it's calm. Sometimes it's chaotic. Sometimes it moves in ways no one expects. Beginners try to control the ocean. Profitable traders learn how to sail through it. And that difference changes everything. One of the legendary traders, Paul Tudor Jones, once said something that perfectly captures this mindset. He said, "The most important rule of trading is to play great defense, not great offense." Think about that for a moment. Most traders enter the market trying to win big. But professionals enter the market trying not to lose big, because they understand something most beginners ignore. Trading isn't about one trade. It's about surviving long enough for probabilities to work in your favor. Profitable traders protect their capital like a soldier protects his last bullet. They don't chase every move. They don't revenge trade. They don't let emotions control the steering wheel. Instead, they focus on discipline, patience, and consistency, the boring habits that quietly build accounts while everyone else is chasing excitement. And here's the thing most people never realize. The habits that create profitable traders are often the exact opposite of what beginners naturally do, which is exactly what we're going to break down in this video. Because once you understand what profitable traders actually do differently, you'll start to see the market in a completely different way. So stay with me until the end of this video, because after watching this, you might realize the biggest thing holding you back in trading was never the market. It was the habits you didn't even realize you had. Let me tell you a story about a trader named Carlito. Carlito started trading the same way most people do. Late at night, laptop open, charts glowing on the screen, YouTube videos playing in the background promising the best strategy or 95% win rate. Every video sounded convincing. Every indicator looked powerful. And Carlito believed that somewhere out there was a perfect strategy waiting to be discovered. So he tried everything. Breakouts, moving averages, RSI signals, support and resistance, trend lines. Every time he found a new strategy, he felt that rush of hope. This is it, he told himself. This is the one. For a few trades it would work. Carlito would win, maybe 2 trades, sometimes 3. His confidence would grow. He would increase his lot size, and then the market would suddenly do what the market always does. It would humble him. 1 loss turns into 2, 2 turns into 3, and before he knew it, the profits were gone, and sometimes even more. Carlito thought the problem was the strategy, so he searched for another one. And another. And another. Weeks turned into months. Charts changed. Indicators changed. Strategies changed. But one thing never changed. The results? Until one night something strange happened. Carlito was scrolling through trading forums, frustrated and exhausted, when he came across a quote from one of the greatest traders in history, Jesse Livermore. The quote said, "The game taught me the game," and it didn't spare the rod while teaching. Carlito stared at that sentence for a long time, because suddenly it made sense. Maybe the market wasn't his enemy. Maybe the market was his teacher. You see, profitable traders don't look at losses the way beginners do. Beginners see losses as proof they're doing something wrong. But professionals see losses as tuition. Every loss carries information. Every mistake reveals a weakness. Every bad trade exposes a habit that needs to change. That night, Carlito realized something that changed the way he approached trading forever. The problem was never the market, and it wasn't the strategy either. The real problem was something much harder to fix. It was him. So what can we actually learn from Carlito's story? Because if you're honest, Carlito might sound a little familiar. Maybe you've done the same thing. Jumping from one strategy to another, saving screenshots of new indicators, watching another video that promises the secret setup, and every time you find something new, you feel that small spark of hope again. This might be the one. But here's the uncomfortable truth most traders eventually discover. The problem is rarely the strategy. The problem is consistency. Carlito believed profitable traders were winning because they had a better system. But what he didn't see was the thing happening behind the charts. Discipline, patience, control. Those three things sound simple, but in trading they are incredibly rare because the market constantly tempts you. It tempts you to enter early. It tempts you to overtrade. It tempts you to break your rules. And if you don't notice it happening, you slowly become a trader who is always reacting instead of thinking. One of the greatest traders in history, Ed Seykota, once said something that perfectly explains this. He said, "Everybody gets what they want out of the market." Think about that for a moment. Some people want excitement, so they overtrade. Some people want to feel right, so they refuse to cut losses. Some people want quick money, so they risk too much. But profitable traders, they want longevity. They want consistency. They want to still be trading years from now. And that changes the way they behave. This is the shift Carlito slowly started to understand. Trading success isn't built in one huge winning trade. It's built through hundreds of small decisions. The decision to wait. The decision to follow your rules. The decision to accept a loss without letting your emotions take control. Let me introduce you to another trader. Her name was Megan. Unlike Carlito, Megan was actually very disciplined in the beginning. She had a clean chart, a simple strategy, and a rule she promised herself she would never break. Always use a stop-loss. And for a while, she followed that rule perfectly. Every trade had a plan. Every entry had a clear exit. If the market proved her wrong, she accepted the loss and moved on. But one day, a trade didn't go the way she expected. She entered a buy position after seeing what looked like a strong support level. The setup looked perfect. The candles lined up. The market structure made sense. Everything told her the price should go up. But it didn't. Slowly, the market started moving against her. At first, Megan wasn't worried. That's normal, she told herself. Just a small pullback. Then price came closer to her stop-loss. And that's when the thought started. Maybe the stop-loss is too tight. Maybe the market will reverse. Maybe I just need to give it more room. So Megan did something many traders have done before. She moved her stop-loss. Just a little. The market dropped again. Now the loss was bigger. Her heart started beating faster. But instead of closing the trade, Megan convinced herself again. It can't go much lower. So she moved the stop-loss again. And again. And before she realized what was happening, the trade that was supposed to be a small controlled loss had turned into something much bigger. Something emotional, something heavy. Eventually the market kept falling, and Megan closed the trade far later than she should have. That single decision erased weeks of progress. But the real damage wasn't just the money. It was the realization of why it happened. Later that night, Megan came across a quote from legendary trader Stanley Druckenmiller. He once said, "The best traders are not afraid to lose." At first that sentence sounded strange. Why would anyone not be afraid of losing? But the more Megan thought about it, the clearer it became. Profitable traders don't try to avoid small losses. They accept them quickly so they never become big ones. Because in trading, the real danger isn't being wrong. The real danger is refusing to admit when you are. And Megan realized something that many traders learn the hard way. The market doesn't destroy accounts. Ego does. So what can we actually learn from Megan's story? Because if you've traded long enough, there's a good chance you've experienced a moment just like that. A trade moves against you. Your stop-loss gets close. And suddenly the rules that once felt so clear start to feel negotiable. Maybe I just need to give it more space. Maybe the market will come back. Maybe I'm still right. And that one word, a maybe, quietly becomes the most expensive word in trading. What happened to Megan wasn't a strategy problem. It was a psychology problem. The moment she moved her stop-loss, she stopped trading her plan and started trading her emotions. And emotions are dangerous in the market because they don't think about probabilities. They think about being right. One of the most respected traders in the world, Ray Dalio, built his entire trading philosophy around one powerful idea. He said, "If you're not failing, you're not pushing your limits. In trading, failure doesn't mean disaster. Failure means small losses, losses that are planned, losses that are controlled, losses that are part of the system." But beginners often treat losses like something that must be avoided at all costs. So they move stop losses. They hold losing trades. They hope the market will rescue them. But hope is not a strategy. And the market does not reward hope. It rewards risk management. Profitable traders understand something that struggling traders often ignore. Your job as a trader is not to win every trade. Your job is to protect your capital, so you can stay in the game long enough for your edge to play out. Think about trading like a professional boxer. A good boxer doesn't try to knock out the opponent with every punch. He protects himself. He manages distance. He conserves energy because the fight isn't decided in one moment. It's decided over many rounds. Trading works the same way. The traders who survive are not the ones chasing perfect predictions. They're the ones who manage risk better than everyone else. And this is the lesson Megan eventually understood. The market didn't punish her for being wrong. It punished her for refusing to accept being wrong quickly. Once she learned that, her trading began to change. But there was still one final habit that separates profitable traders from the majority. A habit that seems simple on the surface, yet almost nobody truly masters. Now let me tell you about another trader. His name was Daniel. Daniel wasn't the type of trader who lost money because he didn't understand the market. In fact, he studied more than most people. His charts were clean. His strategy was clear. His entries were technically correct. But somehow his account kept shrinking. Not dramatically, just slowly, trade after trade. Little losses stacking up like quiet leaks in a boat. At first, Daniel couldn't understand why. His analysis looked right. His setups made sense. But when he finally stepped back and reviewed his trades, something surprising appeared. Most of his losing trades had one thing in common. They were forced. You see, Daniel hated waiting. When the market was quiet, he felt uncomfortable. When nothing was happening, he felt like he was missing opportunities. So instead of waiting for the best setups, he started convincing himself that average setups were good enough. This looks close enough. The market might move soon. I don't want to miss it. So he entered. And sometimes those trades worked. But most of the time, they didn't. It wasn't because his strategy was bad. It was because the timing wasn't there. The market simply wasn't offering the opportunity he thought it was. One afternoon, Daniel came across a quote from one of the greatest traders in history, Jesse Livermore. The quote said, "It never was my thinking that made the big money for me. It was my sitting." Daniel read that line twice, then 3 times, because suddenly something clicked. The biggest profits in trading don't come from constant action. They come from waiting for the right moment. Think about the market like fishing. Beginners throw their line into the water every few seconds, hoping something will bite. But experienced fishermen understand something different. The best catches don't come from constant movement. They come from patience, from knowing when to cast and when to simply wait. Daniel realized that profitable traders don't trade more than others. In many cases, they trade less. They ignore mediocre setups. They let the market come to them. They wait for the moment when probability is clearly on their side. And once Daniel started practicing this, something surprising happened. His trading became quieter, fewer trades, less stress. But the results slowly began to improve because Daniel finally understood something that most traders learn too late. The market pays those who are patient enough to wait and disciplined enough to act only when it truly matters. So what can we actually learn from Daniel's story? Because if we're being honest, Daniel's mistake is probably one of the most common habits in trading, overtrading. Not because traders are careless, but because doing nothing feels uncomfortable. When the market is moving and you're watching from the sidelines, your mind starts whispering things. Maybe I should enter now. What if this is the move? What if I miss it? And just like that, patience disappears. You take the trade, and many times, it's a trade you normally wouldn't take if you were thinking clearly. This is something almost every trader experiences at some point, because our brains are wired to seek action. We want to feel productive. We want to feel involved. But the market doesn't reward activity. It rewards selectivity. One of the most respected traders of all time, George Soros, once said something powerful about this idea. He said, "It's not whether you're right or wrong that's important, but how much money you make when you're right and how much you lose when you're wrong." That sentence changes the way you see trading, because profitable trading isn't about being constantly correct. It's about choosing your moments wisely. Think about a sniper. A sniper doesn't fire every time they see movement. They wait. They observe. They analyze the environment. And when the right opportunity appears, they take one precise shot. Trading works the same way. Every time you open a trade, you're taking a shot. But if you fire too often, you waste your energy, your focus, and most importantly, your capital. Daniel eventually realized something that transformed the way he approached the market. Opportunities in trading are not rare, but high-quality opportunities are, and profitable traders built their entire system around that idea. They don't measure success by how many trades they take. They measure success by how well they filter the noise. They understand that the market will always be there tomorrow, next week, next month. There will always be another setup, another opportunity, another trade. But your capital and your discipline, those are limited resources. Once you lose them, it becomes much harder to recover. So instead of chasing every move, profitable traders learn something far more powerful. They learn to wait, because patience in trading is not laziness, it's professionalism. Now let's connect everything. Carlito, Megan, Daniel. 3 different traders. 3 different mistakes. But if you look closely, their stories reveal the same powerful lesson. The difference between profitable traders and struggling traders isn't intelligence, it isn't secret indicators, and it definitely isn't some magical strategy. The real difference is behavior. Carlito's lesson showed us something important. Profitable traders don't constantly search for new systems. They focus on mastering one approach and improving themselves, because the market rewards consistency far more than constant experimentation. Then Megan's story revealed another truth. Profitable traders are not afraid of small losses. They respect risk. They accept when the market proves them wrong, and they move on without letting ego take control. As legendary trader Paul Tudor Jones famously said, "Losers average losers." That one sentence explains why so many traders struggle. Instead of accepting a small loss, they add more risk. They move their stop loss. They hold and hope, but professionals do the opposite. They cut losses quickly and protect their capital like it's their most valuable weapon. And then Daniel's story showed us the third piece of the puzzle: patience. Profitable traders don't feel the need to trade every day. They don't chase the market. They don't force opportunities. They wait, because they understand something beginners often forget. The market is not a race, it's a marathon. And the traders who survive the longest are the ones who stay disciplined when everyone else becomes emotional. If you look at all 3 stories together, the pattern becomes clear. Profitable traders focus on 3 things above everything else. They protect their capital, they control their emotions, and they wait for high-probability opportunities. It sounds simple, but simple doesn't mean easy, because these habits go against human nature. Humans want action. Humans want excitement. Humans want to be right, but the market rewards the traders who learn to do something very different. The traders who stay calm, the traders who stay disciplined, the traders who treat trading like a long-term craft rather than a quick opportunity. And once you truly understand this, something inside your mindset begins to shift. You stop chasing the market. You stop forcing trades. You stop trying to prove you're right. Instead, you start focusing on what profitable traders focus on every single day: consistency. Because in the end, profitable trading isn't about one perfect trade. It's about becoming the kind of trader who makes good decisions over and over again. If you made it all the way to this point in the video, I want you to take a moment and really think about the stories we talked about today. Carlito, Megan, and Daniel. 3 traders. 3 different journeys, 3 mistakes that almost every trader experiences at some point. And maybe while listening to their stories, you saw a little bit of yourself in them. Maybe you've searched endlessly for the perfect strategy like Carlito. Maybe you've held a losing trade a little too long like Megan, hoping the market would turn around. Or maybe you've taken trades you knew weren't perfect, just because you didn't want to sit there and wait like Daniel. If that's you, don't feel discouraged, because every profitable trader you see today has gone through the same lessons. They didn't become successful because they never made mistakes. They became successful because they learned from them. Trading is not just about charts, indicators, or strategies. It's about growth. It's about becoming more disciplined, more patient, and more self-aware every single day you step into the market. And if you keep showing up, keep learning, and keep improving your habits, something powerful starts to happen over time. You stop trading emotionally. You start trading professionally. And that's when everything begins to change. Now, I'm really curious about you. Which story did you relate to the most? Was it Carlito, Megan, or Daniel? Go ahead and comment down below and tell me. I read the comments and I'd love to hear about your journey as a trader. And if this video gave you value, helped you see trading from a new perspective, or reminded you of something important, make sure to hit the like button and share this to traders you know struggling so you can help them. Also, if you want more videos about trading psychology, discipline, and the real habits that separate profitable traders from the rest, don't forget to subscribe and turn on the notification bell so you don't miss the next one. Because here on this channel, we're not chasing hype. We're building real traders. I'll see you in the next video.